After creating the categories, now let's take a look at the options here. So once you're on the components, the JGIF on the dashboard, the control panel, you want to go to options. This is where you're going to set the options for how you want things to be ran. Now this is all based on, this is subjective, so you can set it to how you want it to go, but I'm just going to set some of the generic settings here, and I'm sure we're going to come back to make some changes. Now the first thing you notice here is asking you, do you want to integrate it with just Joomla, Community Builder, Gym Social, Gymwall, or Easy Social. Now these are all the community components that we're going to, in another course that I'm going to, show you how to integrate those with it. So, but for now, we just want to leave this as Joomla, which is the default. So I'll show Gym Social toolbar and giveaways. So since we're not using Gym Social or any other social network component right now, we are just going to leave this as no. And do you want to force users to complete profile before creating campaign? You can set that to yes. And just leave that to no, or you can, alright, so let's scroll down here. And then select the default country. So wherever you're located, and set mine to the US. Alright, set the type of campaigns that allow. Right now it's donations, and you just want to leave that. Or when you click on this, you have investments. And the great thing about this is you can add in as different, different types that are allowed to be created. Donations or investments, those should cover everything that you need. And then to turn admin approval, you want to turn this on to yes, because you need to be able to, publish or unpublish certain campaigns. If someone comes and start creating a campaign that violates your policies or your rules, then you want to be able to shut them down. Alright, and then for this, it says, do you want to enable the terms and condition? It's always important to have the terms and conditions page. When you look at Kickstarter and other websites, they have the terms and conditions page. Let me just open that up here real quick. So let's go back to Kickstarter and scroll down to the very bottom. You notice here for their help section, they have the terms of use, they have a privacy policy, and they have some other important stuff here. It's important that you do this whenever you're creating a website that has to deal with money. It's important, it's very important that you make sure that your terms and conditions, your policies, everything else is stated there and is very clear. Because if not, people can't sue you. And they, especially when the project becomes successful, then they really want to sue you to get whatever they can. So you want to make sure that your terms and conditions and everything is clear. So we're going to enable this, and then from this now it's asking us to pick an ID. Now if you go to the contents article manager, this is where all the pages are located. In Joomla, web pages are known as articles, and every article has an ID number with it. So if you scroll down here, this column that has ID, you can create a new one, or you can just use one of these IDs here. So let's go ahead and just create a new one. So click on new, and once we're done, we'll put that number for that here. So when you click on new, the first one we're creating is the terms and condition for campaign creation. So I'm just going to put in for campaigns, for campaign creation. I'm just going to copy that. You want to make sure that you put this there, whatever information that you want to put there. And then for the category, you can just leave it as what it is, and you click save and close. I'm sorry, save and new. and then want to create another terms and condition for donations or investment. So just terms and condition for donations, and then just copy this title and just put it there. Alright, so save and close. Alright, so now we are going to get their ID numbers for these. So the first ID number is for the campaign creation. So we create the campaign creation here. The ID number is 25 and the next one is 26. So in order for someone to have access to any of these features on the front end, when they want to create a campaign or for the donations, they would have to agree to that. It's very important that if you're going to have those features, then you want to make sure that they're agreeing to your terms and your condition. And then you just come. Now if you want to hide selected fields, for example, if you click yes, you want to hide selected fields. When you click here, you have an option of what you want to hide, what you don't want to show up on the front end. So I'm going to click yes and scroll down and Joomla social groups, because right now we're not using that. An alternative method, payment method. And everything else, we can just leave everything else. The reason why I chose alternative payment details, or let's just go ahead and just leave that. And we can come back, back and forth, and sometimes you make some changes and you realize you need something, and you can always come back to change that thing. And sometimes you realize you don't need something, you can come back to delete it or add it. And the same thing here, if you want to hide certain fields on the donation section, if you don't want it to show. Do you want to hide the address, their first name, last name, state, city, phone number? So for now, I'm just going to enable and just hide the phone number. Low bootstrap, we don't really need that. That's okay. Social sharing, enable social sharing, yes. Now add this is a social sharing feature that allows for people to share their campaigns with, on social media like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and about I believe 360 other social networks. So you want to go to addthis.com and create a free account, and you can put the publisher's ID there. And we'll come back to that later. Alright, so once you've done that, let's go to the media settings. The media settings is where it has to deal with any type of images. And it shows you the maximum size for it, shows you the number of images in the gallery. If you want more than 6 images in a gallery, then you can change this number. And then of course here you can change the height, the width, and everything, the size of the image, which I'm just going to leave that. And then you come to the payment, and this is where you want to be able to send email for people to receive the email that is coming from. So I'm just going to put in admin fast.com. Of course, you want to select the currency. You want to choose the symbol for this, which is the dollar. And then the separator has already been chosen, which is just a little period. And then you want to send payment to without charging a commission. Now this here, one thing about this crowdfunding sites is the way that they make their money is they charge you a certain percentage of whether it's a flexible or it's a fixed. Now I have another site here, Indiegogo, and this is how their stuff works. If you reach your goal, you have 2 types. You have a flexible funding and you have a fixed. If you reach your goal, they charge you, if you reach your goal, they charge you 9%. You keep what you earn. And then if on the flip side of a fix, if you don't reach your goal, then you don't keep anything. and these are the fees that they charge. So you have to determine what fees do you want to charge. The same thing too with Kickstarter. They charge fees whether it's for PayPal processing. Here you can see 3 to 5%. If it's a wire transfer, it's $25. Or you can put in different amounts here, but you want to stick with the standard. Maybe within this amount here. This is, based on your financial institution once again. So you want to make sure that you set the amount here. Commission pay, I'm just going to put in 5% for flat. Just 5%. And for the selected gateway is just, you have different options. If you're using authorized.net, you can select authorized.net, or if you're using pay by check, by money order, link point. For now, just to keep things basic and easy, you just want to select of course PayPal, and it will guess donations. Do you want guests to be able to donate? Of course. And it will recurring donations. Do you want to allow recurring donations? So you can set that to yes, and you go to order settings. Everything here is fine. You don't need to change anything there. The email is fine as well. For PayPal, mass payments, there's something that you would have to configure later on if you want to send out mass payments with integrated with PayPal. So all the basic settings are okay, and what we need to do now is save and close. So once we save and close, we've fixed the settings for what we need. So now we're ready to start adding the projects and looking at the front end.